I said, well, it's like, if I can get my hands on it, I can put away, if I can pull in like 5 or 6.
All right.
Probably, this year, I started in November, but I could have waited till, December to come out, but I started in November. And what I'll do is I'll just run through till.
I'm getting your shoulders chilling like that.
Okay. By then, when I can get, since you got water going.
Gotta keep going.
Yeah, you gotta keep it warm. Well, you can keep the water warm, but you know, if you're gonna do that, then the house is at a house with 7. We got all the hot water. Mine is actually really good in there now.
Hey, Linda, you know, is that commodities or is that a food truck? That's a lot of food.
Yeah. Do you soak it every day?
Is it tomorrow or Thursday? Thursday. Friday. I know. It seems like a lot of food. Numbers look great. Wonderful.
It's all gonna be made up of seeds. You're gonna get your $3 back. I just wanted you to know
I appreciate you organizing that.
I got all out of the world. And that happened.
All right, Mr. Jerry. Call the meeting to order at 12 o'clock.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
John? Here. Beverly? Here. Rhonda? Here. Here. Linda here. Are there any changes to the agenda? I do want to add a couple of observation items. So, one is street light assessment. Street light assessment is one. And the other would be asking for funding for the federal aid committee.
We already have them on, that's already on.
That's our agenda.
So you use this money.
So we're going to add to the agenda new business number 9, street light assessment. Any other additions to the agenda this time? do I have a motion to accept agenda as is?
I'll make that motion.
All in favor by saying aye, otherwise nay.
Aye.
Aye. Consent agenda in your packet. You'll see that there's a calendar that's now included. Because we have a closed session meeting minutes, the clerk will now pass those out for review, and they must be handed back in after the review.
And I do want to note that, there were some last minute checks cut, so there was an update to the accounting on the request at your seat before you got here.
Yeah.
So this one we have to pass that, and we're done.
Yep.
Thank you.
Do I have a motion to accept the agenda, the consent agenda?
I consent, go okay, consent agenda.
Do I have support?
Yes.
Okay, it was moved by John, supported by Beverly to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion at this time? Okay, except for the closed minutes.
I was having a little trouble hearing you, that's all. I don't know if it's your name.
Might be yours. Okay, roll call. John?
What?
We're voting on the consent agenda.
I just said I consent to approve the consent agenda.
Okay.
Beverly?
Yes.
Rhonda?
Yes.
Christie?
Yes.
Motion approved. Information and reports. Most of our reports were provided ahead of time and are in your packet. Each department will address the questions from the board regarding those reports at this time. If your report is not present ahead of time, you'll be presenting it in full. So our fire department report was in full. What would you like to say, reporter?
Presented ahead of time.
Oh, ahead of time.
Or if you may have questions.
Anybody have questions? Move on, our sheriff's department. We also received that ahead of time. Jason, is there anything you'd like to add at this time? And do any of the board members have any questions for Jason at this time?
I do.
Jason?
Jason, you've got 214 property inspections. That was in January.
Correct.
And was that light?
No, they're property inspections, when people put in, like they're leaving for the winter, or if they're
Oh,
gonna be gone for a
to
while.
check on
Property
vacation.
check.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
property check.
Okay.
Anybody else have a question for Jason? Okay, moving forward. Our light EMS report was not handed in beforehand, so that's that time.
All right, well, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Hello, for you have the January 2020 response time report here for Columbia Township. Kind of go over the report a little bit. So this outlines the total responses at the top left there, the total number of transports that resulted from those calls. In this case, we had 16 total responses, 12 total transports, and then we aggregate a transport percentage off of that. In this case, it's 80%, which is very much in line with what we see with municipalities such as Columbia Township. The next column over there, TOT, is if we had a turnover call for mutual aid request for any reason. You can see it marked under that category. In this case, there were no turnover requests during the period of January that we're looking at here. If that does happen, we take that against our response compliance and view that as a failure for ourselves to respond to that call. So if there's a turnover, that takes a hit on our response time compliance. The final column that you see on the right there is calls that are canceled prior to the arrival of the unit on scene. So if the caller called back and said, hey, we no longer need the ambulance, or there's no emergency here, false alarm, that type of thing, we cancel off ahead of time, that's what that is. Breaking that down a little bit further, you can see the actual response compliance there, so we break it down into our Med 1 responses, our lights and sirens responses, and then our Med 2 and Med 3 responses. Med 2, the difference between a Med 2 and a Med 3 is a 2 is a non-divertible, so if it's a non-lights and sirens response, but once we're committed to that response, we won't divert to a different call for that. So that's kind of the difference there between the 2 and 3. With the 3, we can divert. If we have a higher priority call, we'll go to that. Just so we understand that. Total responses are broken down there. We had 7 Med 1 responses, 3 Med 2 responses, and 4 Med 3 responses for the month, for a total of 14. Remembering that we had the 2 canceled prior to arrival there. The response time average, and again, we have that in there just for reference. We don't hold a lot of stock in response time averages. We actually look at the fractal down below, which I'll go over momentarily. But the average response times for the Med 1 was 14 minutes and 14 minutes and 7 seconds. Med 2 responses, 18:51, and Med 3, 18:22. So those are in line with what our expectations were, coming from our currently posted position there. And you can see the response time compliance for each, and the response target. Those targets are based off of the other rural municipalities that we have that are similar in structure to Columbia Township there. Just a matter of note, Van Buren County itself does not currently have response time targets. That is something we're working with the medical control authority to actually put in place. So hopefully we'll be able to bring that about later this year. We're hopeful on that process. We've had a couple meetings. Unfortunately, the Central Dispatch Director wasn't able to attend today, so we're hoping to kind of keep that process moving forward and look at actually establishing those for Van Buren County in the future.
That would be great.
Yeah. Moving along there down to the bottom, so this breaks out each of the individual calls there. So this shows you really kind of the overall performance. And the reason we do this is because an average response time can hide good or bad performance within the numbers there. If you have to be real close to a call, of course, it looks great when you have a 2-second response. It can offset a 35-minute response, as an example. So when you see the breakdown calls, we had 1 that occurred in the 8 to 10 minute range, 2 that occurred in the 10 to 12, and 1 that occurred in the 12 to 14, 2 that occurred in 16 to 18, 1 in the 18 to 20. So those are all the Med 1 responses, the lights and sirens responses. For the grand total 7. Then you can see those similarly broken down to the Med 2 and the Med 3 responses. The following page there, and again, this is kind of our standard reporting mechanism, shows each of the individual calls broken down, units that respond to those, the call time, and then we are at seeing our overall response time. Any questions so far?
Yeah, could you, I'm sorry. Could you give me an example of what a Med 2 is, like, so that everyone knows that? I don't understand it, so I know
so like
category 1
a Med 1 would be like your chest pain, difficulty breathing. Med 2 could be, say, example, would be like a seizure where the patient is no longer actively seizing. So maybe they had a seizure, they have a seizure history, but they're no longer currently seizing when they're on the call or with Van Buren Central Dispatch.
And the 3 would be like,
3 would be like,
it up, or?
Yeah, lift assist are very commonly a 3, if we have to go out and help somebody out, or very minor injuries. So maybe a cut to a hand that's not actively bleeding, something along those lines.
The only question I have is I had a call to my house, and first responders were there immediately, and the situation was in hand, and the ambulance, and it was you guys, but the ambulance came finally. I got a bill for $240. I didn't think that was right. All they did was walk in and say, "Is everything okay?" Everything's okay, and then he turned around and walked out. So I fought it, and I got it down.
Okay, that was with the previous provider?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just wondered if that was something within the realm, you know what I'm saying? If you walk in the house and the first responder says, "Hey, we're good, we checked this, we checked that," and she's up and so forth.
Yeah, that should just be a cancellation. I mean, sometimes the crew will do an assessment if the first responders say, "Hey, maybe they're having chest pain or they passed out or something like that." We would still do an assessment at that point. So, does that answer the question, I guess? Okay. I did receive a note there from the clerk about emailing the report out, so I've added a note to my calendar there to email that out a week ahead of time. So we'll get you that. And then just a couple notes with the response time report here as well. One thing I have yet to do, which I will do, is reconcile this with the Van Buren Central report. So I get a report from the Central Dispatch Director with all of our calls, and we have to make sure our CAD is properly configured to capture all of the calls in Columbia Township. So I'll be doing that once I get that report, which should be in the next couple of weeks here. Just again, kind of ensuring that we're capturing all of the calls that occurred in the municipality here. And then one highlight, we did have a member recently transition. It was with the previous provider. Chief contacted me there and said, "Hey, This individual needed a lift assist, and we got them converted over to a membership, and they ended up with no charge as a result of that lift assist out of the residents. So thanks to the chief for bringing that to our attention, and obviously, just great to be able to move people over to the memberships. I did bring the memberships with me this evening as well, so those are right back there, and I'll leave them on the back table, for anybody that needs those. And then my only other final point on this is just when we look at the response time report here, please remember that this does not include the call processing time from Van Buren Central Dispatch. So I want everybody to be aware of that, right up front. We don't obviously have control of how long that processing time takes. So our clock starts when we get the call, that's when we can start the response. Yes, sir.
Yes, there was a situation where 911 went off the line, and it was completely down. And, as a neighborhood watch, we teach our members, you call 657-3101, that kills everything, that goes right to dispatch. So, you know, if 911's down or anything like that, they can go right to that, but.
Yeah, I think you're referencing, there is a large fiber outage across the state that actually, I think one of the largest, Kalamazoo directors,
Yeah.
the largest he'd ever seen. And the services were down there for a little bit, so obviously that was a major impact for many, many municipalities across, lower
We
Michigan.
teach that you can bypass if you don't have that service, know what number to call, and then go right to dispatch.
Yep, absolutely. All right, any questions for medical services?
Good job.
All right, thank you.
Our assessor's report was also in my packet. Senior services was not. Would you like to come up, Mr. Becker?
Yeah, I didn't know we were supposed to have them written. I will do that.
Okay. This is a new project.
Yeah, that's fine. I have a very short report this evening. We had one screw up in the senior services. I'm sure not the only one, but here in Columbia Township. Last month, we were supposed to be providing our seniors free lunch on their day at the Congregational Church. Senior Services knew that. I told them. They had it all down. While I was paying for it, and the person that brought the food out here charged everybody $3. Unfortunately. Those people, we have their names, so if you paid $3 last month, come again this week, or this month rather, excuse me, and you'll get your $3 back plus a free meal, and from now on it'll be free. But there was that snafu.
Thank you.
Dean, is that gonna be ongoing,
Yes.
every month a free meal?
Yes,
Good.
thanks to the generosity of this lady sitting here.
Oh,
We're
okay,
picking up
thank
the
you.
charge for your seniors, so I just think that the $3 and less than 40 people who are coming is kind of a nebulous charge for us. And I think it's a little more impacting for our seniors to have that opportunity to feel more appreciated with a free meal.
Thank you.
We appreciate that.
We appreciate you, sir.
Kurt? Or,
Did you receive the,
I did.
okay, it was the same one, basically. So I don't need to go over this. The only other thing I have, I'm kind of on a fact-finding, mission right now. I don't know if any of you have followed the, Second Amendment, Sanctuary County debate that's going on. Berrien County has turned it down. Some of the other counties have adopted it. So I represent you guys, so I need to know what you're thinking. This just came to light in Van Buren. Our last meeting, we had a couple fellas show up. So if anyone has any comments on that, I want to get it to Linda. If she can pass those on to me, I would appreciate it. What is it? Well, I guess you can kind of Google it, and the Palladium's had some articles in there about Berrien County, and basically it's just something to do with, there's such things like red flags that they can come in, and if you own a weapon and you do certain things, you can be red flagged, and they can come get your weapon supposedly.
Is that done by township?
No, it's a county right now.
It's a county.
Yeah, and they're looking at all the counties in Michigan, trying to get them to pass a sanctuary county Second Amendment. Well, we have a Second Amendment. I believe in the Second Amendment. So why do we need to do this? I don't know, but, you know, like I said, I represent everybody, so I'd like to get everybody's opinions and kind of know what your thoughts are. So if you could get those to Linda, Linda, if you would pass those on to me, I would appreciate it. John?
I just wanted to ask you, the governor's making a big deal about fix the roads, but she's putting a postage stamp on a hole. That is a situation that I look at, our roads aren't gonna be part of that.
Right, that, as far as I know, and I think, you know, you can, verify that, basically what she's talking about, it's just all state and anything with a
So it has nothing to do with-
anything with an I and an M in front of it, and not county roads, so, okay?
Kurt, can you be emailed directly through the Van
Sure.
Buren County
Yep,
website?
yep,
There's a
Doroh
link for you.
Yep, DOROHK@vbco.org, so. Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Doug, Road Commission?
There was a regular meeting February 12th, and I was not there. Road Commission, I thought you said Planning Commission, sorry.
Sorry.
Guilty.
February 3rd, our new manager director took over the job. He's trying to meet with all the supervisors, the board members, the union, the non-union people. He's at all kinds of meetings trying to get a feel for things, what everybody's opinions and so are. He's very outgoing. He's happy to talk to anybody that wants to talk to him. I'm sure of that. We have an informational meeting February 27th at the Lawrence Conference Center for the millage election. It's a 1 mil for 5-year renewal. It's something that's been on the ballot since, I think 1978. So it's just a renewal. And, other than that, just normal operations as far as the guys are doing a lot of tree work this time of year for tree work, because you don't have to you don't have the brown bat restriction and so on. And, that's about it.
I got a question. As you come down 388 from 681, branches are very close to the to the road.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping that they're gonna hit that section because there's some branches there that are protruding pretty good.
I'll bring it up Thursday
Bring it
night.
up and it's from 388, from 681 to the railroad.
Right out here.
Yeah.
Right on 388.
Right on
From
388.
681 up to the
It's
railroad.
on the left-hand side.
Yep. Okay. I will bring it up.
Okay,
That's all I've got.
thank you, Doug. John, got a report for us tonight, John?
Excuse me?
Do you have a report for us tonight?
I'm looking on here, where am I here?
Well, right here.
Oh, board reports written as verbal?
Mhm.
I got nothing written.
You don't have to have something written, you can give us something verbal.
Well, the only thing, and I brought this up with Chrissy, we have some things that, are in our packet that we are to look at and sign, and I didn't agree with any of them, and she's trying to educate me on why I should. And,
So what John is talking about is, and there was other people here that will see the same information, is anyone that is receiving a paycheck from the township, has been requested to provide, documentation. And that's what he's referring to.
I just haven't done it in 8 years, that's all I'm saying.
Chrissy, is that a new employee? I mean, why do all this time, we've been paying our tax, getting payroll, and now we need to do, I'm wondering like John is, why all
Why now?
now, yeah, right.
Because I audited the files, and they're missing.
My withholding form with my social security number and everything is missing?
I don't believe it was ever requested.
Oh, I did one,
Yeah, there are, W-4s, there's a federal one,
Yes.
but I do not have it on my W-4s or the I-9.
Those are two I never heard of.
Okay, I think it's maybe because I don't pay state taxes, but the I-9, Doesn't that go with the, W-4? Isn't the I-9 just something you do then? So is that Department of Homeland Security form, is that the new I-9?
It's not new. Not new.
She's got a look on her face like I got on mine, you know?
Right. I'm an anti-information giver. That's why I don't do Facebook.
Beverly, what's your report?
If I want to see my face, I look in the mirror.
Oh, okay. So I was unable to attend the planning commission meeting on Wednesday, February 12th, but our lovely chairwoman, Leslie Elrod, did give me the information I needed to make a little report. There was a vacancy created, of course, by Chrissy's appointment to the clerk here, and she was also a planning commission secretary, so there was an election, and Chris Hodgman was elected as the new planning commission secretary. Chair Elrod reports that next month's meeting, we will be reviewing Chapter 8 and the whole of the master plan. If all goes well, there will possibly be public hearings in April.
And our treasurer's report was provided, also in your packet. Brenda, would you like to add anything else to the board?
We're coming to the close of the tax season, and, so we're gonna be very busy. The last day for, taxes is Monday, March 2nd, and we're here until 5, taking payment.
Anything else? Any questions for us? Okay. And our clerk.
So I apologize for the really long update, but I did want to, just one quick thing, for those of you out there that are like, oh, there's all these written reports that we're talking about, you can access them on the website. So if you want to see any of the reports that we're talking about here, any publicly available information from the board packet is available on our website now moving forward.
Well, I'm not Spider-Man, I don't have a website.
That's why we give them to you here, John. So, with that being said, I don't have anything else to add at this particular, oh, I do. BSNA called me today. So, we are starting the project on March 3rd. I will have my first phone call to start that project. They do not anticipate completing the project until October. So, yeah, so it'll be a little while before we're all good to go there, but it's moving along.
But you've got so much else to do anyway.
No, not at all. I just keep working.
Okay, thank you. So just one quick mention, the information on the website is going to be on the website at least 3 or 4 days before the meeting, so you can actually go out and view it.
Not counting weekends or counting weekends?
Okay, so this month obviously was a little bit.
Sure.
It's been a little hectic, but moving forward, the
We
plan.
haven't been getting them historically anyway, so.
My goal is by Thursday, before each board meeting.
The Thursday before.
And my report, I just wanted to, mine was provided ahead of time as well, but I just kind of wanted to mention that we have mentioned in the past that we were under some litigation. We did go to court on the 10th, and the judge did rule in the township favor. So that was a good positive thing. And the rest of my report's online, if somebody would like to look at it. We're going to move forward. At this time, I would like to ask if there's any public comments to the board, and remind you got 3 minutes. Listen.
I'd just like to welcome Christy and Rhonda from this side of the panel.
As you both knew going in, Columbia Township has earned a bad reputation over decades for both internal strife and external lawsuits. Locally, each of the 5 board members are township legislators responsible for the township's fiduciary health, are accountable to each other, and shouldn't relinquish that responsibility. Actually, since the 2016 election, 4 out of 5 of the elected officials resigned, leaving only one to complete 4-year term. And who knows in November if it's going to be reshaped yet again. Just to comment about different leadership types, sometimes there's weak leaders that tend to be insecure about a loss of power. They might treat team members as competition and tend to assign blame. But great leaders lift their team members up, give them tools to succeed, and share credit. I am optimistic about both of our new leaders. Of course, I already knew Rhonda was a good character. I'm getting to know Christy. I certainly see she is a diligent hard worker and possibly the answer to prayers. They both understand that trust, inclusion, and compromise will be key, particularly amongst the 3 executive board members that share space and resources. Internal transparency is essential to foster trust. Communication, by definition, is not a one-way street, but a sharing of information. Respectfully listening to other viewpoints can lead to agreeable compromise. They're both apt to make some honest errors in the beginning, should be granted grace. But I continue to pray for a harmonious team. I do have other comments on different topics, but I'll stop there.
Anybody else have a public comment? Yes.
Gary Grush from 51st and Half Street. I have a question and a comment. Question is directed at Supervisor. Do you know when we're going to have the mailings for our 2020 assessment notices? I haven't gotten one.
That should be going out anytime.
Oh, pardon me?
Jerry informed me those will be going out this week.
This week?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because the taxpayers are going to need time to do their appeals, if any, and be able to review those. The second thing is a comment, and I see on here that you have under new business, a recommendation for a blight officer, and I guess I'm wondering why. We have a full-time officer now who's very capable. I've known Jason a long time, and I see that the recommendation for the blight officer, person just came in, Bob DeRoof. I know Bob a long time. He was a reserve officer for the county and rode with me several times during the evening. I think if you let Jason do his job, and I don't know who he's getting direction from or not, but if you take the handcuffs off the guy and let him do his job, he's more than adequate to do that. He's a very capable, good officer. And I think that throwing more money to another blight officer that may be working maybe part-time or maybe full-time, I don't know what the board's preference is for that, is a waste of taxpayers' money. I took care of 4 townships in the county with only 10 hours a week, split between 2 townships of 5 hours a week. And I took care of all the blight, all the traffic, everything else from all the townships. One township, very, very busy, Antwerp Township, has an interstate highway going through it. Has high-income homes, a lot of industry, very busy township. I partnered with Manawha PD, and they partnered with me when backup was needed. But I can tell you right now that some of the benefits from a uniformed officer going into a blight situation is you might find out that there's maybe some stolen property there. I cleaned up over a dozen B&Es just over a blight complaint in Bloomingdale Township. Decatur Township, I broke up a big right, for, stolen automobiles, head start unit, and that's the last. Also did a lot of, work with, drug enforcement down there. So I think if you just take the handcuffs off of Jason, let him do his work, you'd be more than satisfied and have everything taken care of.
That's my question, though. My question is to him. Does he feel like he's overburdened? That is why I'm wondering where this came from. Did he indicate that he was overburdened or something like that?
We'll talk about that when we get down here.
Okay?
Any other comments?
I just have a question, Linda. Did you receive my, letter of intent? I just might and share it with the board members.
Not yet.
Okay. I have copies with you.
Don't get it from me. We're putting it out for others to also, if they have an interest.
Okay.
You know, yeah.
Yeah, I think, the problem with our blight is this board's scared to death to go after anybody for blight. They're afraid to get sued. You just take it to the step, you take it to the step, and then all of a sudden it disappears. Well, nothing happens. Same blight, same people getting blighted. Board just changes, and we still got the blight. So, we know what the problem is. The problem is the board don't step up.
Anybody else?
Yes. Anybody from Breezeville here? Did anybody see this? This is from the Breezeville clerk, also our supervisor here from the township. This is propaganda. We need to be transparent, and let's look into that. Just because you say it so, that doesn't mean that it's factual. Give it back to me. Excuse me. Thank you. My name is James Armstrong. I live at 420 Harmony Lane, Grand Junction. I came down here to get some information, and you guys gave me the runaround and all kinds of nonsense, including the police. Thank you very much. Recently, there have been rumors and vicious attacks regarding the village of Breezeville. Therefore, the village council feels compelled to address those rumors and put to rest false information that is being circulated. First, it is the position of the village council that any resident of the village can file a valid petition to dissolve the village. With that being the issue, one has to wonder the real motive, in particular, resident who is disseminating those rumors. At one time, the resident was a village member and was suspended May 2016 for unprofessional conduct. Intentionally, it is very easy for a resident to state in a petition that the village does not have the finances to maintain the village. Further, the resident states that the village cannot make road repairs. Those assertions are flatly false and malicious. As many of you know, the village fixed the bridge, CR 215 in 2017, and we repaved East Main Street in 2019. Pine Street is scheduled for 2021 or 2022. Based on approval of state grant. Again, there is no basis whatsoever. And the rest of it is village finances. Just because you put this with our taxpayer money on a website, that doesn't make it true. And this place and the village of Breezeville need to open up their books and this place in the interest of transparency.
Anybody else?
There's a couple different topics, but the first one is to applaud Christie for posting online, the packet. That is transparency, and noting in the agenda for tonight, the first reading within new business to give board members a chance to actually digest. That wasn't me, I just started.
Bonus time.
In the agenda, under unfinished business, you've got administrative assistant, and I haven't met this person, don't know anything about it, but I just want to caution that I don't know who decided, about the interview process, but whether or not that was supposed to be public, I'm not sure, but somebody should check into that. And it is my understanding that resumes are not considered, protected information. And I don't know who all here has met the applicant or if they're even here tonight. I don't know, but apparently that's on the agenda. Under new business, you've got, the recommendation for the blight officer, which Mr. Grubbs already addressed. And I look at it from a little different angle. Our police millage takes in approximately $100,000 a year. Enforcement officer currently is Van Buren County for about $90,000 a year. So I'm thinking from a budgetary standpoint, as a fiscally responsible taxpayer, I do question the recommendation to add a blight enforcement officer when we already have 40 hours per week through County Sheriff's Department that includes ordinance enforcement. Whether or not Mr. Duluth's recommendation is an outside contractor or an employee, that resume or proposal, I don't believe that is also protected information. And when you get to that item, I hope you'll at least share with us the figures that you're talking about. And on a different topic, budget public hearing that you've got scheduled here for 6:30 at the next March meeting. I had done some legwork previously, and I do have some worksheets I'll be happy to pass along for you. If you want to add to those, up to you. I would recommend that if there's any employee reviews, that Christie do take part in those. And whether or not the new administrative assistant, if it's going to make any difference for the hours that you all choose to stick with. I don't know if you're going to change anything before November, just in case, so we don't have to change them yet again. But one of the problems I thought we had as a group before was lack of communication. And if there was some overlap in the hours of the executive member public hours, that might help some of that. So that's my 2 cents. I always wondered if changing the hours instead of these little half days to full days on like a Tuesday, Thursday, and then maybe still the half day Saturday. I don't know if that's better for the residents or the board members, but I'm just throwing it out as something to think about. Okay.
Thank you for your comment. Anybody else? Moving forward. Moving on to unfinished business. We have a resolution to sell excess real estate. The resolution is in your packet. I'm going to ask the clerk for a resolution number.
That will be 2020-01. 2020-01.
So this was introduced a couple of meetings ago, last month and the month before. This actually project started last year. We had a committee that went through the properties, got them all ready, and our Beverly has taken it on and got it all ready, and now we're ready to move forward with selling of the property. So we have a resolution. Do I have a motion to accept that resolution?
I'll make the motion.
So the motion was moved by Beverly and supported by Rhonda.
Clarify.
to approve the resolution to sell the excess property at resolution number 2301 as presented. Now some discussion, John?
Yeah.
Do you have any questions?
What would, John, you said clarify,
Clarify the motion.
the motion.
Yeah, the motion, yeah.
Well, I just wanted to add that, I believe this started a while back, it's been going on a while, and it was a big help, Rhonda was a big help, and Linda, you were a big help sitting down, trying to think this through, because I don't know, it was, the people who initially did this, it was a lot of work on their part, so I think it started with, the Curtises, and then with Kate and Ken, and, as I really commend everyone who had anything to do with this, because that's a lot of looking stuff up, and all the site numbers and stuff, and hopefully it'll give people an opportunity to get, in addition to their property or something in the township. Get them on the tax roll.
Can we do a roll call? John?
Why not?
Roll call.
Yeah.
Beverly?
Yes.
Rhonda? Yes. Christie?
Yes.
Motion passes to sell the excess property. Moving forward, recommendations from the administrative assistant. The recommendation is in your packet. Christie and I interviewed 3 people. After offering interviews to 7, we had 26 applicants. Ms. Mulhall stood out as a wonderful candidate for the position. She is willing to accept $15 an hour and can start working February 24th. There is much work to be completed in this administrative packet. Right now, we very much need this position filled as soon as possible. The clerk is now passing out the resumes for your review, and these must be handed back after your review.
So, is this the first year seeing this also, Rhonda?
Which is intentional. It would be an OMA violation for 3 of us to look at them without having a board meeting. This is a typical.
Don't we normally do interviews or things like this here at a board meeting?
I don't know what the history of Columbia Township is, but that is not typical of hiring general personnel for a township.
Right. That's the way I understand it too.
And this was, we did discuss it with the attorney, if that was, we could do it that way.
Did we have any local applicants, anyone from the township that would met the qualifications? And did you guys have a point system to exclude? You know, how did you narrow it down? That's what I would like to know.
Well, the first set, that we excluded, my standpoint on exclusions, and this is a pile of exclusions, was if they could not write a resume in a fashion in which there was not loads of errors, that they were not very detailed. So that's the primary reason that I excluded people from an interview request. The others simply did not respond to the interview request.
In other words, they didn't give a resume.
They didn't call back.
They didn't call back.
Or they didn't call back.
Yes.
And the duties of this administrative assistant would be basically that of which Rhonda did, and the hours would be the same.
Well, that would be the decision of the board. We were entertaining maybe presenting to you going from Monday through Friday from 9 to 1 and not being here on Saturday. I'm doing Saturday as a appointment only. That was one option, or having it open one Saturday a month, like at the beginning of the month.
Well, you gotta watch Saturday because we have so many people in this township that are not members of the immediate community, and the only time they're up is on the weekend, and if they do have business to contend with, they need to have this office
And the
open.
same with maybe evening hours to come
So,
too.
yeah, so my thoughts on this is that I would like the administrative assistant to be here Monday through Friday, 9 to 1. I don't feel like it's as important for that person to be here on Wednesday nights and Saturdays, simply because there's just a lot of traffic, and we aren't really accomplishing a lot of work tasks during those time periods. We're connecting more with our community during those time periods. So I believe that it's a better use of the administrative assistant's time to have her here the regular hours, Monday through Friday.
And then what will we do on Saturday?
And what about the public? Aren't they here to also not just to be your assistant, your administrative assistant, but I thought this position was also to serve the public.
It is.
So if there are no evening hours.
No, I'm not saying we're not gonna have evening hours. I'm saying
We have Wednesday night.
that she would not necessarily need to be here for those hours. We would be here for those hours. Because it's not a good time to get work accomplished, like paperwork items accomplished, which is what we primarily need that support for.
So you would say it would be just like, okay, Tuesday is the treasurer, Wednesday night we're here, Thursday's the clerk, is that the idea? And then the administrative assistant's at the desk.
Well, I do have a question. I see the person knows how to write a resume. But how did you address I don't see a job where she stayed more than 2 years. Or is that not an issue with us?
That wasn't something that I was terribly concerned about, but we're looking at a part-time position. I don't anticipate really long-term, people to stay in a part-time position, but I could be wrong.
And what is the, so I'm just trying to work this out here. If I were interviewing, I would ask, so what led you to apply for this position, especially given the distance from home to here?
We did ask that. Let me find my notes really quick. She was looking for a part-time, position. She is currently supporting her husband's business and is just looking for a little bit of time to be able to get out of the house. She has children that are in school, so she wanted something that was during school hours. And she did not feel that the distance was a point of concern.
And when the kids are out of school in the summertime, would that work?
Yeah, we did talk about that, and she is aware that she's still in.
Oh, I don't think you can talk about that in an interview, can you?
You can ask if she's willing to work during the summer, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But not childcare.
No, I did not ask her if she had childcare, no.
Well, like she said, we're here to serve the public. And I know that Saturday, that's when majority of people from out of town are here. If they got questions, we gotta be here.
How many people did you guys interview?
We only ended up interviewing 3. We offered 7.
Well, I just feel like, not having the opportunity to ask questions.
Well, I got the resume in front of me, and I just feel.
If you want to see my notes.
And not being the person that has to, I don't have many duties for an administrative assistant, so.
Those are my notes from the interview.
Do you have the notes for the other interviewees?
So would Saturday be 11 to 1 then, or what would Saturday?
Saturday would be the same for my last meeting.
Interview is what we're doing now.
That wouldn't really change anything unless.
So you guys do that later. I am dedicated to being here every Saturday, the first Saturday of every month, personally.
Well, I'm just thinking of all the people that come here on the weekend.
Yep.
I guess I'm sad we couldn't find a
Yeah.
more local candidate. I don't have anything against someone not living in the community, but
Yeah.
if, you know, if we have an opportunity like that, I would rather a resident get it.
Yeah, and that definitely, if that had come into play, if that was a possible swaying factor, that certainly would have been my feeling as well.
Everybody had an opportunity to review everything and, John?
Yeah.
Do you have any questions?
Nope, I'm satisfied from the standpoint of availability. That's, and as far as the resume is concerned, wonderful.
So at this time, do I have a motion to hire Steve Alpert as the township administrative assistant at the rate of $15 per hour beginning February 24th?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have support?
I'll support it.
Any other discussion at this time? Do a roll call. John?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
Rhonda?
Yes.
Christie?
Yes.
Linda, yes. Moving forward, our adult use report.
Oh. Well, there were, we met, as you know, here in the office, in the back room, because scouts were here, and we thought it was an adult subject. We did discuss the need to, if we do a community, I don't have a correct name for it, an informational workshop, that we would need to have a variety of times, maybe one on the evening, one on a weekend, so that we could get more people here. We would need support for newspaper ads, the website, the sign out front, maybe flyers, because we would want to get as many people here as possible. What I think we are envisioning is an informational session where the public has some time to ask questions after they receive a presentation by an expert on the law. I am going to be asking if the board would approve funding to that end. We did have a suggestion from one of our medical license holders that we only opt into the MRTMA to the Class A level for the 5 licenses previously allowed. We did talk about pros and cons, and bottom line, and I know the supervisor at one point said maybe this is going to need to go on the ballot. That's a possibility. I don't know, but I think even if it heads that way, it would be best if our community has as much information, just the
Yeah, well,
facts.
Shirley, we need the input, so.
Just the facts,
Yeah, we
right.
need the informational meeting.
Yeah. But I would like that to be from an expert. And where people have opportunity to ask questions and to see, because if we might choose to opt in only at a certain level. We might want to opt in on more than one thing. We might want to stay opted out. I'm not prepared to make a recommendation. I just feel like we do need to find out what the community wants. We know that sending out a survey isn't good enough. They only get to so many people, only so many people answer. Maybe we could combine a survey with these things. I don't know, so I'm kind of looking
That's what the information.
for ideas too, and ideas from the community also. We do have a meeting. Our next meeting is scheduled Saturday morning, the 29th, 10 to 12, where I was going to report back.
The 29th.
29th?
And I did put it on the calendar. Once I found out we actually had one.
Is that here?
Yes.
Yeah,
What day is that?
it's a Saturday morning.
It's a Saturday morning, okay.
And basically, this committee has just been, the way I saw the committee was to work out the details of this, how we would go about presenting an informational forum and what they felt like we would need to do.
So have you, arrived at a budget? Do you have a budget in mind?
I'm not sure. I kind of wanted to discuss with the board on that, because I wanted to possibly use Catherine if we could. If not Catherine, someone comparable. I don't know what her availability is, and I wouldn't even try to find out until I knew we had funding for this, but I was thinking it would take, I don't know what attorneys need for preparation time, but I would say probably 6 hours, at least 6 hours of their time, newspaper ads, office supplies to make flyers, maybe the administrative assistant's time, possibly, I don't know. Hopefully some bottled water.
There are some funds available under the planning commission of professional services. We have $490 left there. So that could potentially pay for, I'm not sure you're gonna get more than 2 sessions with Catherine out of that. But you could probably get 2 sessions with Catherine out of that.
I don't know if that would pay for 2 sessions, honestly.
It's like 200 an hour, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it's gonna be longer than 2 hours each session?
No, but you're saying $490, 2 hours is
Oh, yeah,
$400.
sorry, 1 session, you're right.
Yeah.
I guess I need that for that coffee.
Yeah.
So we do have some funds there, and there are some funds in the planning commission budget still remaining from this year for printing.
Well, and this isn't necessarily a planning commission issue. I saw this as a board issue. But I don't know, you guys
I'm looking,
suggest.
I would say, isn't it both?
It's a little bit, because it's going to have to eventually go before the planning commission.
And the reason why I'm asking if it's both is because the funds are available in those.
Take it from 2 places.
Yeah. So we have some funds available there that I'm pretty positive are gonna be used by the planning commission the rest of this fiscal year.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Right.
how soon do you think you want to?
Well, I thought we would want to get past the primary election here. There's so much going on here. You guys have a lot going on here. I thought if we could get past that and to give us time to make sure that we get the information out there so that people know that this is going to be happening, because I would like to see a big turnout.
Do you think it would be before the end of the month? Before the end of March?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, well then
I mean,
We can address that at our budget meeting.
yeah.
I did talk to Arlington Township supervisor, they did opt in for the adult use. She had a lot of good information. She would be willing to come and speak to you back to the committee and give you a perspective of the ideas already opted in and what they've, gone through. So that might help you guys too.
Okay, you wanna put me in touch
I
with
will,
her?
absolutely. Moving forward, new business. Our budget amendment is that time, and we need to amend the budget for the current fiscal year. In the packet is a proposed budget amendment based off the spending throughout the year. The deficit was reduced by $85,150 and to $13,724. Christie and I reviewed the current expenditures and income to make the adjustments. In the motion in this case would be to adjust the general fund budget only. So that budget amendment was in your packet. If anybody has any questions on that at all.
I do. The money for the Humane Society, why was it not paid? I'm assuming that it didn't get sent to them and it should have. We promised that money. And the reason we promised it is because our township in particular uses a lot of their service and they get nothing for it. And I would hate for them to start saying, we're not gonna take all the cats from you guys or whatever it is.
When we reviewed this, it simply hasn't been paid, and I don't have any type of bill or promise or anything in my.
It was a board meeting.
Yeah. So there's not like something from them?
We probably didn't do anything, I think so. I think it's just like with.
It was last year that we did it.
Yes.
But nothing was received this year indicating how much that they.
No, it was last year that amount, but
we didn't.
we didn't ask them to convey something to us to send them the money. So I think it might have been a lack of communication between them and the board, possibly, why they didn't get sent the money.
Okay. I'm just wondering, since we only have 1 month left of the fiscal year.
Go forward for next year.
Yeah.
And maybe that's something that,
I don't, you wanna reach out to them?
like me, sure, I'll call them and see if they can put something in on paper to make it easier on us.
I think that's fantastic.
Other than that, I did read all this.
So do we have a motion for the resolution? Oh, just give me the resolution.
All right, clarify the motion, what's the motion?
We haven't done it yet.
We need a resolution number.
Yeah, it's 2020-02.
I'll make the motion to amend this year's, to accept this amended budget.
Yes.
Support?
Yes.
Any other discussion?
Hopefully you guys got it right.
Roll call, John?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
Rhonda?
Yes.
Christie?
Yes.
And the motion passes. Moving forward. Consumers Energy Company Electric Fund Franchise Ordinance. The Consumer Energy has requested that we incorporate a franchise ordinance. They presented the ordinance and it has since been reviewed by our township attorney and approved as final by Consumer Energy. The ordinance is in your packet. Krista, can we get an ordinance number for that?
Yeah, where's when?
What number?
I have it here. It is 12.100.
That's a weird ordinance number, isn't it?
I got you.
So do we have a motion?
Okay, I got it.
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
And support?
Yeah.
Go ahead, John.
I read it, I just couldn't find it in the book. Okay, yeah.
Any discussion, any questions?
I just assume this is pretty, just a routine thing, right?
It's routine, it's every 30 years.
Wow.
So you'll never see it again, probably, while you're sitting here at least.
What did we say to policy?
While you're sitting
Hey,
here.
don't jinx me.
While you're sitting here.
Christie, what did we say to policy number? What is your policy number?
It's gonna be 12.100.
So there was a motion made by Beverly and supported by John to approve the Consumers Energy Company of election franchise ordinance number 12.0100. Roll call, John,
Yes.
Beverly,
Yes.
Rhonda,
Yeah.
Christie, Linda, yes, motion passes. Planning Commission and zoning opening advertising. The board has recently expressed to desire to advertise more effectively open positions within the township. We currently have opening seats on our planning commission and zoning board appeals. I would like to request that we place an advertising in the newspaper for these positions.
When you talk about advertising, do we advertise our meeting? I haven't seen it.
I don't know.
Because everybody else does.
You mean?
This meeting. Yeah, everybody else does. But I haven't seen ours.
It's on the sign and the website. I've seen our reminder bill, however.
That's what we want.
That's huge.
Yeah.
So I'd like to, make a motion that we put an advertisement in the newspaper for these positions and on the website as well. Do I have any support?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Otherwise say nay. Motion passes. Okay, moving forward, security policy, first reading. Christie has asked that we bring in security policy to the table after she had a discussion with Jason. This is a result of that discussion. The first reading, please provide feedback to me by March 11th so that we can do a final draft can be created, and we will read the final draft on our March meeting. Does anybody have any questions before we get started?
I do have a question. So it says, limited to banning parties from township property after threats to the safety of employees. Where they literally make a threat,
Where they literally.
not just where they're kind of
Correct.
belligerent and then the sudden termination, changing the locks and stuff. I mean, we already do that, right?
This is just putting everything in writing, yeah.
That's the question I had.
Moving on, our records management policy, our first reading, it has been the desire of the board to store documents electronically. Upon further review of regulations surrounding doing such, it is found that we need to have policies in place to support such activities. This is the first reading again. Please provide feedback to me by March 11th so that the final draft can be created and we can read the final draft in our March meeting. Is there any questions on this as you review it?
No, I did go through a comment though, a lot of work here.
Where is that?
I do have one question. Is this, directly from MCL somewhere? Is that what you've done?
This was actually the recommended policy from the state.
Okay.
Directly from the state.
All right.
Moving forward, our employee handbook, first reading. The township has needed an employee handbook, and now we have one to start with. This was adapted from other township employee handbooks. Again, this is the first reading. Please provide feedback to me by March 11th so that we may have a final draft to be created, and this will be read as the final draft at our March meeting. So it's several pages, 66 pages so far, so.
I read it. I had nothing else to do except read.
Yeah, you got 2 pages to read.
I do wanna make a comment about it, and that is that there are things in this handbook that are, specific to full-time employees. No, we do not.
At a large place, yeah.
Yeah, no, we do not have full-time employees, but I feel that it is, helpful to have something in there in case 20 years down the road, we have a need for full-time employees. So it'll already be there. Not that we can't amend it at any point in time, but I like the idea of forward-looking and having things in place. And I just wanted to make sure that I stated that.
So, this is also for the fire department?
This would cover, yes. It will link up with their SOP, which is one of the reasons why the SOP is listed as, one of the pages for the discipline. It mentions that if they violate an SOP, this applies to that.
And, just a thought here, that was a lot. For our independent contractors, our 1099, do we have something like or do we want something eventually that, I know that they're self-employed, but like a standard of conduct or something like that, or, I don't know.
We can certainly put that on the agenda to look at in the future, yeah.
I thought you had nothing else to do, that you might want something else on the list.
We'll put that on Linda's agenda.
Workers' compensation.
Any other questions on this handbook? So just make sure if there's anything you want to add, subtract, or want us to look at, or research, let us know so we can have that available for you. Moving forward.
Legal theories.
We're gonna move on, John. We're gonna move on to the next thing.
We're moving on, Don.
Oh, we're moving on.
Computer and internet.
I didn't know what my meal theory was. Okay.
Okay, so this is our computer and internet use policy, John, first reading. The handbook was created, and it was obvious that we needed a computer and internet policy as well. This is the first reading. Please provide feedback to me by March 11th so that we can do a final draft to be created, and we will read the final draft at our March meeting. Is there anything there that anybody wants to point out that they may have seen, that they have questions on, or clarification? Now's the time to ask. Moving forward. Recommendations for a blight officer. As we have discussed concerns with blight, the idea of hiring an ordinance enforcer has been raised. I asked the attorney, Michael Honian, to review our ballot language for the police millage, and it was in his opinion that we were within our guidelines to use the police millage for hiring such an officer. With that being said, I would like to recommend that Columbia Township hire Mr. Duluth to enforce the blight ordinance in Columbia Township. Mr. Duluth is well qualified to fill this job and is currently blight officer for Bangor Township, Reedville, Arlington Township. 50 will pass out the resumes and offer.
Comment? I would like Jason to come up here, and I would like him to tell me and everyone else if he feels that the job of blight officer is overwhelming and we should have another officer. Jason, would you mind coming up here? What are your feelings on this, Jason?
I'm gonna tell you folks that I would never say I can't do it. okay? I will never turn you down for anything that you request me to do. As Mr. Gruss brought up, yes, he did do 4 townships. And there's different challenges with different townships. Specifically in this township, I am required per week to do approximately 75 property checks of different residences, which does take an extreme amount of time of mine. I have no problem doing the blight. It's just if I do end up doing the blight, I would like a straight answer and everybody to be on the same page.
What kind of straight answer are you looking for?
Well, the roadblocks I keep running into are, I'll go to one board member, I'll be told this, I'll go to another board member, I'll be told this. I need everybody to be on a unified front and give me a direction on what they want me to do. I know that's extremely difficult, and everybody has their own opinions on what should be done and what shouldn't be done. It's just, I have to have a straight answer. I can't be pulled in this direction and then told not to, and then told that one. So that's where I'm coming from. I will do it if you want me to. I will succeed it to you guys if you don't want me to. I will never tell you that I will not do it. So that's my personal opinion.
Any questions, board?
Yeah, I thought that you got a blight complaint and you just checked it out.
No, and I have. That's what I've been doing. I've been going to people and speaking to them. And a lot of people are perceptive and they will attempt. It's not completely completed, usually. But we've never gone to the next step of, okay, are we going to cite this person?
Yeah, and that's not you.
And
That's
no,
us, right?
So, and I understand that, and there's a lot more behind it is, with that comes an attorney bill, because they put the court date out, and it's not done by the courts of Van Buren, it's done by your guys' personal attorney. So there's gonna be money spent in doing this, so it's gonna be up to you guys.
We have a blight hearing officer. Do you remember that?
No,
That was a dangerous buildings officer.
Oh, dangerous buildings.
Dangerous
Oh,
buildings, yeah,
okay.
dangerous.
Okay.
And I went out and I have no mechanical engineering degrees or anything like that.
Right.
I also went out and I put together a list of residences that, to me, are in shambles and will never be lived in again. I don't know where that list went. That was well over a year ago.
that was forwarded to Mr. Moore.
Yeah, so
It was forwarded to who?
I think we have enough
Chuck Moore,
Blight.
building.
And he has already tagged a lot of buildings.
Well, here's what I'm wondering. If we, so Jason, the property check though, so that takes up a lot of your time. And
I go to each of those residences individually, twice a week and physically check the doors, the windows on every residence.
And I can tell through the day.
And does every citizen get that? I mean,
No, you
is that
signed up
normal?
for it.
No,
You signed up for it.
I have a lot of people that sign up for it, but also the neighborhood watch has taken the time to go out and make contact with
Right.
many, many individuals.
And you can tell by our record of break-ins and stuff like that, it works.
It does. We have, knock on wood, we have not had a break-in in the last 2-3 months, not one, which is extraordinary and amazing, but.
So is that a big percentage of your time? I'm just trying to understand the big picture here.
Yes, I have 40 hours a week, which, it's a lot, but, to handle complaints, to do all the property checks. Other departments other township officers do their blight. There are other townships, as stated by Linda, that have their own officer. But none of the townships, I think the next township that has the most property checks is 10.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is that a normal thing for our officers to use that much time on property checks?
Well,
like that?
it's a very beneficial resource, like
It
John brought up,
reflects your
for
crime rate. It reflects your
deterring
crime rate.
B&Es and whatnot, but I can't say, like I said, every township has its challenges, and every township has its list of duties and whatnot.
So I had thought before that since we seem to be collecting, starting to get a large police fund, that I was hoping that there was a way for us to get an additional officer so that someone could complement, you're on these hours and then they're on other hours, because you're only one guy, you're only 40 hours a week.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I was hoping
And I
that we
remember you
could
bringing
get
that up to me.
more
That's what you
hours,
saw, yeah.
because people know, I mean, this is their township, even, you know, this is their, if you're a crook and you live here, it's your township too, so you know.
Yeah.
You've seen Jason around in the day, so maybe Jason's on days this week or whatever, so you go do your stuff at night, or,
And then the sheriff will always oblige what you folks want done. He's never gonna turn away if you want an additional officer, if you wanted this or that, he will never turn you away. So if you ever want to ask him anything, his door is open all the time, just give him a call.
and is that something the board has possibly thought of? I mean, if we're going to use the dollars to get a dual purpose out of the dollars, someone that would do the blight,
I feel that,
more of the blight,
yeah,
I kind of feel like.
and more patrolling.
I think we need somebody right now, because the blight is so bad, that we can focus just on that and not be taken from that until we can get it under control. That's my opinion.
And like I said, if you want me to, I'll go out and I'll start handing out tickets left and right now. I got no problem with that.
You know, I had heard something.
I don't want, to also, I'm here for the community and I don't want to anger the community and have the community angry at you. So.
a blight officer is an officer, and he should have the power to be an officer. And if that means tickets and fines and whatever else has to be done, that's fine, not with me. He's done a good job, I'm satisfied with Jason. I just wanna make sure that he's not overburdened. If he says he can do it, he can do it.
Mr. Drew is here.
Am I done?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Jason.
No.
Well, I feel like part of the problem is lack of follow through on our end. I mean, so people, they start cleaning up, and we make all kinds of excuses for people, but they seem to have the wherewithal to drag back in another camper to dismantle right by the road. So it's not, I mean.
They'll push you as far as they can.
And it's been going on for years with this board, various boards, and, I think a lot of it is people don't want to be unpopular. They don't want to have the stomach for that, but life's an issue in this township.
But Charlie, the ordinance is the ordinance. If the ordinance says this, you may not do, you may not do.
But we need to enforce them and then follow through. Jason goes out and the people get a letter and they may start cleaning up, or they might totally ignore it, and then we're not following through. We're dropping the ball.
That's our fault.
That's right.
You wanna give a guy authority, and he's gotta have the stuff to go with it.
So, one of the questions I have is, if we did go with a specific blight enforcement officer, you don't have like an outside number that you're talking about, a number of hours, a number of months, if we want to just try it out. And I also want to know about authority. Now, we know Jason is authorized by the law, and I do have some friends who are sheriff's reserves, and I know that a reserve officer, I don't totally understand it, but I'm wondering about the legal authority.
See, he brings it to us, and we have to okay it. In other words, this is what he's got, this is what he has, this is what the result is, and we have to say, go do it.
Yeah, we'd like to know what you do for the other townships, how it works.
Yeah.
I'm sworn in by the other townships. Back 10 years ago, we had a couple of judges come to the township meetings and said as long as I was sworn in by them, that I had the authority to take that to court.
So are you like deputized?
No, I'd be sworn in by your township.
Similar to you being sworn in when you accept your position.
Actually, the prosecutor's the one that takes them and does the violation action. I'm just an investigator.
I go investigate it, take pictures, get a narrative of what's going on and there was a judge that's retired now, but he wanted everything itemized, which is a good plan.
Mhm.
So, and he'll bring it to you and say, here, it is, what do you wanna do? And some of this is hard nosed, I mean, your budget might be overheaded if you've got quite a bit.
So you're enforcing the building codes in Bangor
I'm enforcing the
Township?
blight ordinance.
Okay, it says blight and building code.
I don't think he does the building code.
Oh,
Well, I
I'm
do,
ignorant.
I've done some stuff for Chuck too, and got that through,
Okay, so that's knowledge that you have?
yeah.
And how is it, particularly Arlington Township, how is it, can you give me like, I don't know, how is it going there? What difference have you been able to make?
That's pretty much a summer job only.
Only in the summer they do it?
Because this time of year it's hard to see
Oh,
blight.
yeah.
With the snow, this year's been exceptional, we haven't had any snow, but last year was, there's quite a bit of snow, so.
Seems like when the leaves are off the tree, it's a good time
It's
to
easier to
spot
see,
blight.
but that's on a nice day when there's no snow on the ground. So, it depends on the weather.
What about Bangor Township?
Bangor Township?
Is that year round?
Yeah.
And can you give me an example of a successful outcome?
Well, it's up to the attorney really to make success out of the complaints. I've had, I can't count the number of houses I've had torn down and blight situations cleaned up. I'm almost running out of work. That's plenty here.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's for sure.
Job security.
So, can you just give me an example of, so a blight complaint comes into Bangor, what happens after that? Just kind of walk me through what you do.
Follow up on it. See who the person is, if it's a rental or if it's an owned property, and who's on the property, and interview them and find out what their plans are. Unless you talk to people, you're not gonna know what they wanna do. So,
Do you deal with many people who have been blighting for years
oh yeah,
and taken to court and
Oh,
still
yeah.
blight?
oh yeah.
And have you seen any success in that area?
Eventually you get success, yes. Just keep on them.
You have to.
Yeah.
Would you be open to a short-term contract, to
See how it goes.
to see how it goes?
Sure. I could, as an employee,
As an employee, not as a
part-time,
contractor?
part-time, yeah.
Oh, an employee?
Part-time employee. By your direction.
Mm-hmm.
That would mean the board would find what areas they want it worked in, and you could do an estimate on hours that would have to be given for that particular site.
So you wouldn't be open to being, like our grounds and all that,
Contractor?
yeah, an independent contractor where we give you a 1099, you're kind of like self-employed, or?
Well, it depends if I'm under your insurance or not.
Oh, you mean our liability insurance? Oh, I see. Right.
I believe so. I'd have to ask.
So this would be,
When we leave, Monday? I can say that I'm not super comfortable with the employee status after speaking with our, insurance agent earlier. However, I did not ask about, and I think you would be covered, but I would prefer to have time to talk to the insurance agent to see what the coverage would be for a contracted employee, before we make a decision. That's my preference. So my preference would be to table this until Monday. which would allow us enough time to talk
I
to.
agree, you should,
Yeah.
you should research all this to see if it's what you wanna do.
Yeah,
I'm not pushing.
sure,
Yeah,
we
I'm out there.
understand. And I'm not questioning your
No, I
credentials
understand.
at all.
No, I understand perfectly. You have to speak for the citizens of the area, so, and that'd be my job, is to be, you know, kind of just try and fit in a little bit, because usually when you first walk on the scene, you get upset right away.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to kind of just walk it through and then talk it out and see what they actually, their plans were, you know. They might have other plans for all the stuff they've got, I don't know.
Now, have you ever had a situation where you're, following up on a blight complaint and then you end up seeing other things going on and then you contact law enforcement?
It's possible.
Because you being a sheriff's reserve, you probably,
I'm not in
a
that
reserve
position,
officer.
I'm not in that position, as of 2017.
Does the
but
neighborhood?
you've had all the training.
He does a neighborhood watch, observe, report.
That's right.
You
God
got it.
knows.
Yeah, I'd like to know, what you find out, and then also, you haven't recommended an amount or anything, like a dollar amount of what we're talking about.
On a cap.
Yeah,
Okay.
something like to know what we're looking at, so we're not just signing like a blank check. I'm open. I know we need to do something about blight.
I think
doing it, but working.
Chrissy's idea is right, though. We'll table this and then get the opinion on the insurance.
I'll move to table this.
And I'll move the table.
Table until
Table until Monday.
So I have a support.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
And everybody, all right? Say
Yes.
aye.
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 So we're gonna table this until Monday, after further investigation with the insurance agent.
Did you say Monday?
Monday.
Budget meeting?
That's quick, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay, moving forward, correspondence and announcements. Jessica, did you get anything? Anybody else have any other announcements?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, John?
Yeah, I shouldn't be here tonight, folks, because this is the anniversary. 59 years ago, I made my wife the happiest person in the world. I married her.
Congratulations.
59 years is a long time.
It is.
And back then, when you said I do, and I love you, and after that, the man said, yes, dear, and I will. So, it's been a long haul, and we got married in Chicago, and it was a rough neighborhood, and but we made it. The only thing I can tell you about when I got out of I belonged to a group called the Sons of Italy, and I had two of the guys standing up for me, and they gave us a good send-off, and I had a 57 Chevy 283, and I got in the car and it didn't go nowhere. And I tried to figure out what was wrong. Got out of the car, and here they had put it on milk crates, and the wheels were off the ground. And I had a note on the tire, and it says, "Congratulations from the gang, and here's $500 to take your wife off." I thought that was great.
That was great.
Okay, more comments from Beverly?
We got the street.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Street assessment.
Oh, we skipped it. We're gonna go back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
You know, I never gave my report on cemeteries or nothing.
We asked you for that?
When?
Okay, earlier.
So, before we were, talking about streetlights. So Karen was good enough before she left to print me up a printout of special assessments for streetlights, because I was trying to understand how does that work. So in looking at it, I'm seeing that I need to talk to Jerry, if Jerry even, I'm not sure how this, because some people are on the same street and they're paying different amounts, so that makes me think that they're paying based on their taxable value, but I thought a streetlight assessment would be whoever is fortunate enough to be under the glow of that streetlight, they share an equal portion of the, whatever it is a month. What is it, like maybe $12 a month? Have you seen street lighting bills yet?
Oh, yeah. Yes, they're significant.
So I just think that this is something that's probably just been passed on and on and on, that we might want to take a look at it and make sure that people are not being overcharged.
I will say, based on what I see coming in and what I see going out, I highly doubt that's the case, but we should certainly review it.
Okay. And if this would help this report,
Yes.
I'll give you a copy of that. So that's all, I was just, because I still don't understand this. I don't understand when a street light is, if it's for public safety and not because someone said, you know, it's really dark around my house, I want a street light. But when it's a street light that's for public safety and everybody gets to drive through that light, I don't understand putting it on people's taxes. Specific people, so it's probably something that I need to be educated on.
Call
This is the beginning.
I think it's a good idea, too.
Yeah.
Yes, I would like to, is it time for my board comment? Okay. It's easy.
Okay, so everybody with their board comments.
Okay, I should have said something, put it on for discussion, but when I walked in here tonight and noticed all these commodities, I thought, you know, it would be nice if we do something to recognize Ada and the other volunteers who are always here. That is so much work.
If you could ever
And they do this
if you could ever see what she does.
month in and month
I
out.
opened up for her Thursday, and I mean, this woman is unreal. It's
Yeah,
absolutely unreal.
that's a lot of work and a lot of dedication.
Yeah.
And it's purely for.
And when she leaves here, her car is full, that she has to deliver again.
Yeah. And the other thing I wanted to mention briefly is that Senate Bill 431, it's the one about gravel mines, about gravel mining, and it's going to, I think they're going to be pushing it through pretty soon, but it was written by the mining lobby, and it's going to take away whatever control townships have. There's a case right now with these people, and so our township, you know, we get all up in arms about the farm market and stuff, but we better pay attention to this stuff because there is a company wanting to put a 500-acre gravel mine 300 feet from someone's home. And if this passes, they're going to be allowed to do it, and the township isn't going to be able to stop it. So it'd just be a quick email or a phone call. That's Senate Bill 431.
Well, you got the bill number, just get a hold of that, will you?
Well, I'm only one person.
Yeah, but
a
he's
whole
not.
lot more.
But he's
You
not.
would like to hear from a whole lot more.
He's in the legislature.
And I wanted to welcome Chrissy and thank you, both of you ladies, for the work you've been doing clearing out the closets and all that. It's a lot of work. I'm sorry I wasn't here to help.
Well, there will be plenty of work.
When I get better, I'll come in and do some volunteering.
I'm not able to because of, I have to babysit Carol, that's not the right word, but,
Yes, as a woman, I can tell you that's a bad choice of words.
But anyhow, that's why I'm regulated as to how I go. I wanna thank Carol for hacking her brain and getting her things going and everything else. Good for you, girl.
John, did you have any other comment you want to make? You want to talk about your cemetery?
More comments?
People are trying to get in them.
Well, the only thing I wanna say is that, at my age and, everything I'm doing, I had my examination, I got 6.1 on the AIG, and then, I'm doing good, and If, people in the township, think I should run again, I will. As long as my health is the way it is and the way I'm going, it might be a good thing to have a 50s type of brain in the modern generation.
Okay, thank you, John. Oh, next.
I just wanna thank Karen for being my rock. She's hanging in there with me and I'm learning a lot and retaining a lot.
Christie?
Oh, it's been an interesting, month.
No.
And, I really appreciate and am thankful that I was, that the board appointed me to this position. It's been a challenge that I've really enjoyed. I do want to say, there was one thing that was brought to my attention by a citizen, regarding our November minutes. And I just wanted to put on the record that there will be a note physically attached to the November minutes explaining why they were not approved in a timely fashion. So, they were not completed on time and we had to complete them later, so, that note will need to be attached for future reference. But other than that, I'm just cruising along and.
Gave you an extra day this month, huh?
Yeah. That's not enough, I need like 10 more. Or maybe 500.
Yeah, who knows?
Christie, I saw on the website that you're still needing election workers. Do you have enough yet, or?
I have enough election workers for the March election.
Good.
I am still actively trying to recruit election workers. I need a better balance of parties, and I would like to not strap my election workers to have to work quite so much. So I'd like to be able to have, a separate receiving board, and that would require some more workers for the August and November election.
Do they still have watchers at the election? That's something you can have.
Yes, watchers can come to the election, absolutely.
It won't come now, but look out for November.
And I want to state too that it's important that I know anyone that wants to work elections in August and November prior to July.
Prior to July.
They're required to take training in July.
Have you thought of maybe putting up a couple flyers, like at the Family Dollar, the gas station, and maybe Harding? Because people probably just don't know, they might not have read it on the website or the reminder or whatever.
That's a good idea.
You might get some more people responding.
Does anybody know what's on the ballot for March 10th?
Absolutely.
The veterans are. It's
Yeah.
gonna cost you $350, to give us more benefits, and if you've got a question with $350, I'll meet you out in the parking lot. And then, of course, you have the ISD, and they're in bad shape. They are in bad shape, they really need that millage.
Yes.
And the roads, I'll let that up to you.
So I just want to say thanks to Christie for stepping up and accepting that position. It has been a challenge. Her and I have spent 3 weeks solid up here. Every night, till 9 o'clock. That's nice. And we've gotten quite a bit accomplished and still have a lot to do. Thank you very much, and Londa, thank you for stepping up and learning, and we're getting there. So it's a learning curve for all of us, and so thank you guys all for being a team, and I appreciate all your help. And Karen, thank you for spending your time helping Londa and guiding her. I appreciate that.
And I know I already finished mine, but I just really want to say how much I appreciate what Karen has done. Karen's knowledge has helped me also, even though she probably didn't think that was going to happen. But it has been fabulous.
Any other comments? Do you have any emails yet? So, let's just bring everybody up to date here. Christie, would you like to please fill us in?
Certainly. It's taken a little bit of time. We have, the domain is formally transferred. my update had said that I had hoped that the emails would be transferred by now. We had a couple of little minor glitches in that. So, as of right now, Thursday is the planned email conversion day.
So let's do a point of information for the audience, so.
Okay, so, we are switching our email platform from Bloomingdale Communications to Google Suite for security, archiving, usage purposes. Bloomingdale Communications and our attorney have made this a very strong recommendation.
Is the email the same email?
It will be the addresses will not change. But
So will be at Gmail or anything like that? No?
no, the email addresses will remain the same. They will still be whatever at ColumbiaTWP.com.
Because I have two, only one word.
You'll only
Sometimes.
ColumbiaTWP.com moving forward. But if anybody emails on Thursday, there is a possibility there might be a little glitch in the system on Thursday. So,
And what will happen with the Bloomingdale email? That will just be saved somewhere, or?
so I actually need to get with you specifically about yours.
Okay.
We will be moving the emails to the new system, so we'll start with all the old stuff.
Okay.
So I need to talk to you about that, how we're gonna do it.
Okay. Is there something wrong with mine,
No,
or?
no, just because you're not here with the system yet.
Oh, I thought you saw the Russians in there or something.
No Russians, as far as I'm aware.
That's why, because I stay off on Facebook.
Hey, at this time, I'd like to ask the board members if there's any other comments, concerns, questions. Okay. So I need a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
All right. I'll support that.
Meeting adjourned
Actually, a good one for me to watch. Oh, yeah. I had to work like that. I was thinking that already.
I heard that.
I know, I think so.
You heard all about this. I think that's perfect for him. That's the standard.
I know, I